Of course, I think by now everybody knows this story in Dallas last night at 8:45. Shots fired, officer down. And there's a lot of video, and you can see all of this, the shocking moments. All hell breaks loose at a deadly, and there was a protest, Black Lives Matter, and it totally blows up. And there are all these stories now, but I don't know, before we go to our guest, and Justin Sparks, he's an attorney with U.S. Law Shield. He's one of the nation's leading voices on the Second Amendment. I'm going to bring Dr. June Depp in. The line out of Dallas is the suspect wanted to kill white officers, but he was acting alone, but there were 4 people.
Right, it seemed very
5.
well coordinated to be acting alone. It's quite a coincidence that 4 people decided at the same time to do the same thing with no coordination, really?
Yeah, we're all at first blush, and this is what steps things up.
Sure, and again, be cautious, because all of these stories, the initial couple of days, the stories are invariably wrong.
Please say good morning. Welcome to 710 KNUS. Justin Sparks, he's an attorney with U.S. Law Shield. Justin, good morning, man. Thanks for doing this, and welcome back on a Friday.
Good morning. Absolutely. I appreciate it. Ironically enough, at the time this happened last night, I was actually speaking to about 50 people, myself and a police officer, in teaching and educating them on what to do in an active shooter situation.
Just overall, by the way, do it just a quick bio, and then your thoughts about Dallas last night. So if you would, please.
Sure. My bio, I'm a criminal defense attorney. Do 100% criminal defense. I practice in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I am with the Sparks Law Firm. I handle a lot of firearms cases, so the majority of what I do is that. My thoughts on this latest news and press conference that we just heard. We heard some more details about the one suspect that has been shot and killed, and they have 3 more suspects and are not releasing any information about the 3. And I don't think we will get any information about those 3 for at least another day or 2.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on this cloistered descriptions of people that did or did not? We were talking in the studio with me. He's a physician, and he's also an editorialist, Brian Jundepp, and we were talking in the aftermath of San Bernardino. It seemed to be the government did everything it could not to tell you these were jihadis. The same thing in Orlando. I don't know what happened in Dallas, and I'm not pretending to know, but I think it's odd. And Brian said that had they found somebody with a Donald Trump hat on and a Confederate flag on a T-shirt, we would know that. That would be sprung. So is there anything different about people not talking about who these people are at this point?
I think at this point, we are under 12 hours from it happening. Mm-hmm. So I think they're being very, very careful, and especially Dallas PD, they are so well trained in PR and media, and your major metropolitan areas are. But I think they're very hesitant to make any accusations or claims of something that they don't know for sure. So I think that's what we're seeing. Now, what's going to be interesting is when they sort of complete this investigation and pass their case along to the DA's office, what are they then going to say? Are they going to make those accusations or claims or not?
Brian, do you want to?
Well, sure. The media will probably join in. I'm sure the police are playing it close to the vest until they know, and that's the smart thing to do. Otherwise, you're just fueling idle speculation. Typically, it's the media, the morning news shows that are identifying the shooter as a Tea Party member or some other crazy stuff like they did with the Aurora Theater shooting here in Denver a few years ago. So I think that's where most of the speculation is, and it'll be either the Obama administration, members of Congress shooting off their mouths and saying this, saying that, without really knowing the facts.
Justin?
And really, to add to that, they just had a press conference where Police Chief of Dallas mentioned a few quotes from the one actor that has been killed, and that was Black Lives Matter, they're out to kill white officers.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did release some information that indicated, some sort of motive, I should say.
What I think is interesting, and again, I take you at what the value of that is, that these other three people in custody, but it doesn't sound like one guy did all this shooting. They say 50, 60 rounds, and again, this is all first blush. And to me, to do something like that, and again, I have no knowledge of any of this, but it would take skill. You would have to train together. You'd have to work this together. Apparently, they had body armor. So none of this is stuff that was just put together yesterday afternoon. Justin, your thoughts?
I'm with you. I think this was planned. I think they probably, I don't know that it was planned specifically for this day, but I would think this group planned at some point they are going to do this, and now is a good opportunity. And so they went and did it.
Yeah,
so,
if you read the literature that's available, and they call them the Leaderless Cell, and there's a motto that runs through this: when the time comes, you will know what to do. There is no one telling them what to do. It's sort of an intrinsic, you know what to do. You'll know what to do. And there's little, if any, relationships between these people, but they know they all exist. They're not the lone wolf. There is no such thing. I don't believe there is such a thing as a lone wolf. I believe that even somebody like that Orlando murderer, he was not a lone wolf. He attended a mosque. He got politicized. He got radicalized in the mosque. He's hardly a lone wolf. He had
he's part of the
support.
herd. He's part of the herd of
support.
wolves, and he may not be at the center of it, and he may not be carrying
but he's the guy.
ISIS membership card and secret
but he's
ring.
willing.
He's part of it.
Justin, your thoughts?
I agree. I mean, obviously, if there's a group, even if they claim they're leaderless, they are helping each other. I think right now there is a giant question mark on how many shooters there were.
Right.
And we know for sure at least one, and probably more than one.
Sure.
Is every indication. But they're currently processing the crime scene right now, and they're taking their time. They've blocked off 35 blocks in downtown Dallas. Perimeter so they can process the entire crime scene. And what they're doing is looking at trajectories of bullets in cars and vehicles and objects on the street to determine where these shots were fired from. So that way, if you have two opposite angles, there's two shooters. Maybe there's a third one. We don't know yet, but that's what they are working on right now.
Would anything really surprise you about this?
Not at all.
Yeah, me neither.
Not at all.
Yeah.
The fact that we already have confirmation that this was essentially a hate crime, and I think we can now classify this as terrorism. I mean, I think that's pretty easy to do. So no, nothing would surprise me at all. The big fear right now is they've mentioned there was a bomb and that it will be detonated and you can't find it. And so they have indicated so far they have not found any bomb or any trace of bomb. So that's the big scare in downtown Dallas right now.
Our guest is Justin Sparks with U.S. Law Shield, Dr. Brian June-Depps in studio. I'm Peter Boyles. There's another one that I thought about. After Ferguson, Missouri, the libs, the progressives all went bat crap about the militarization, if you would, of the police. These guys had armored cars, as if that would cause people to go riot and loot a store. Having said all those things, what a lesson this is. Obviously, if you saw some of that video, these cops are on mountain bikes and they have yellow tops on so they could be spotted in traffic, and they're helping people who are chanting something that was never said. Hands up, don't shoot. As you know, Michael Brown never said that, and it's just been part of this urban legend of things that were said. And here's the cops, they're just walking along, actually acting as a safety net for people who are protesting them. And when the bullets start to fly, the people seem to run to the cops. The whole thing's upside down, Justin. Your thoughts?
It's incredibly ironic. It really is. The militarization is a very good question. The tough part about that is no real act of terrorism like this is going to happen when they are prepared, right? because they know they are going to ambush, and they are going to act as cowards when people can't protect themselves. So the difficult part of this is if the police were ready and had all their tactical gear and were waiting and had a wall set up and ready to go,
can you imagine?
People wouldn't have shot.
Can you imagine people hands up, don't shoot, Black Lives Matter, and these guys are coming alongside them in a track?
That's the soft target. These shooters aren't going to go into the local gun club and try shooting it up. They go to a movie theater or a school or a protest, and the police deliberately, for a protest like this, want to keep a low profile. They want to be out there, but that's why they're in shorts and on bikes. They don't want to be out there in full battle gear.
They don't want to look the part. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great point. They don't want to enrage them by showing up in a tank.
No, but remember, in the wake of what happened in Ferguson and other places, even the rata-libs who are the editorialists for the Denver Post and other papers, they were legion about talking about the militarization of the cops and what we watched that insanity in the aftermath of Boston Marathon, and now you see this craziness. And had they had the proper equipment, they could have rolled in on this guy. He was 2 hours in there. There's nothing about progressive, politically correct ideology that isn't constantly being proven not to be true again and again and again in situation after situation. But Justin, as you know, it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter because the president immediately in Poland goes after guns. He doesn't know who the people are, doesn't know anything about who the shooters are. Not that we do, but immediately he skips right over all this other nonsense and he makes it about the guns. Your thoughts?
I think it's a giant mistake. I think the more we sort of pass these gun control laws, the more we take guns out of hands, the more you're taking them out of the people that are legally able to carry them. We now have, over 5 million quote-unquote assault rifles in this country, and you start trying to take those away or make those illegal to possess, well, then you're creating a giant black market. The only people that are going to have them are the people that want to commit acts of terrorism. The other thing that's going to happen is incidents like this, if people have a hard time getting their hands on a gun, they're going to find a different way to do it. And you know what? They're going to make a bomb. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a bomb like Boston Marathon or something like that, where, rather than having someone shoot a few rounds and maybe be taken down by someone else, they're going to just detonate a giant bomb.
Yeah. And no talk about bomb control. I didn't hear President Obama talk about bomb control, just gun control.
Well, but
and there's apparently a bomb or more somewhere in Dallas. What to do about that?
The same thing happened here, Justin, at the Gay Pride parade and party. The governor, John Hickenlooper, who's notoriously an anti-Second Amendment governor, appears and speaks to this gathering, and there's a lot of people there, and he starts going after guns. This is in the wake of Orlando, but standing on both sides of him is a state patrolman with a gun. He's got, guys that are, they're dressed in casual clothes, but bet your bottom dollar they have their guns with them, and they're protecting the governor. And he's up there and he's attacking guns. The same, you watch these people, and it's almost like read about 6 months ago, read this piece about the, when busing after 54 and the decisions that were made, and not that this is not about segregation or integration, it's not about anything, but when they found out that large percentage of the people in Congress who were voting for busing had placed their children in private schools. And it's the same hypocrisy of John Hickenlooper going after guns, but having people with him who had guns. Michael Hancock, the mayor, who's really an interesting character, when he would show up at old KOA radio, there'd be guys with him that had guns. And he's an anti-gun guy. So how do they justify all of that, Justin?
There is what we're seeing is a double standard. We are in part worried about our safety and taking all of these weapons out of people's hands, but at the same time, we want the safety and we expect the safety. And so the problem is you can't have both. And it's either one or the other. It's as simple as that.
Tell me that again. How do you see this? You say that
I see, as far as our government intervening.
Indeed. Go ahead, please.
As far as our government intervening, I don't think we can allow it. And I think we, as far as our police departments, do need this tactical training, do need to prepare, because these incidents are becoming more common. You know, things like this didn't really happen 50 years ago.
No.
And now it's changed. Now they do need to do this. They do need to be prepared. They do need the equipment. I don't think we need to take it out of the good citizens' hands that are law-abiding citizens either.